Good afternoon, race fans. I am David Westergreen, and welcome to the ERSCA Bat Flip 170 from Iowa Speedway. Along with me is Emily Harlan for now. Dom Santina will be with us shortly, and we're looking to bring you a pretty much opposite style race from last time at Daytona. Emily, real quick, kind of as we're doing our pre-race ceremonies here, um, who do you like out of these drivers to kind of maybe make their way towards the front? I don't know if you managed to talk to any of them so far, but who's doing well?
The only driver that I've talked to pre-race has been Johnny Thomas. He said that I should expect maybe if some more action happening tonight, a few more crashes, things getting kind of mixed up in there. So I'm excited for this. I'm feel like I'm definitely ready since we had last week off. So I think it's kind of like a fresh slate here for the guys, to get back on it. So I'm just excited to get it going.
Me too. And Dom, welcome in. Trying to just set the stage here a little bit. Iowa. I mean, I'm expecting some long green flag runs, but what are you kind of thinking about here as we get ready to go green?
Yeah, I'm hoping for the same thing here, David. We saw super speedway racing to start the season. Now coming back to more regular racing here at Iowa. I think it's going to be exciting, and I'm ready to go to get race number 2 of the regular season underway.
Sounds good. So this is our heat race to start, I believe, and I believe this is to get to lock some drivers into the field. So how many finishers are we taking, um, Josh? So we're taking 42 total. All right. Well, there we go. 13 on the board. So a lot of big names here. Got Colin Fambro, Tate Lytle, Michael Goodman, Brandon Key, Josh Personette, Kyle Hanshaw back here, as well as David Strackbean and Chuck Sweeting. So if we're sending anybody home, then that would make this a pretty important heat race, unless it's just setting the grid. We'll have to check and see. And it might be just a grid set. Might just be a grid setting heat here, I believe. So Dom, I guess we can kind of lead in with some of the guys that are in this race. Kind of, I'm assuming that these guys are making the field, and then everyone past that it will not make the field. But yeah, Michael Goodman up here, and he was in the top 10. Brandon Key wrecked out of the top 10. And then Josh Personette, maybe the most fortunate of anyone in this heat race last week, moving from about 30th to 3rd in the first race at Daytona. So, maybe he can take some of that luck into tonight's race at Iowa.
Yeah, I think that race at Daytona was just everything that you could want in a Daytona race. We had it, especially coming to the finish, just absolute chaos, and kind of sets the stage for the whole ERSCA season. We'll see what happens at Iowa. I know we had the list of people that were already locked in and some that had to race their way in, so we'll see what the official word is here after these heat races to see who's actually in this one. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's going to be interesting. I think we have our ones that we know will normally be running up the front everywhere we go, but always looking for the surprise win as well.
Yeah, for sure. And we've got a special driver in here, professional IndyCar driver R.C. Anderson. Took it to the pole in the 7 car. His first ERSCA race so far. But for now, he's maybe the odds-on favorite, I would say, given his experience in the real-life cars at these racetracks. Right beside him, though, Ryan Lutz in that 36 car. That's my pick. He's so good at these short tracks.
Yeah, and then you got Scott Crump right there starting in the 3rd spot as well. James Heater, couple guys that we saw up at the front in Daytona. Crump, I think, could probably pull this one out too. I think I might pick him to go with the win here tonight.
Awesome. Yeah. And as we kind of scroll through the starting grid, you can pick out your favorite driver along the way. We'll try to highlight some names throughout. Jeff Green starting 8th. That's the former Busch Series champion. Um, Back up here, we've got, let's see. Yeah, we need a little bit further down, I think, Josh. There we go. Yeah, it's we got a little touchy system here, but Cameron Rich, last week's winner at Daytona, starting 16th. Johnny Thomas there, starting 24th as well. That's Emily's pick. And then as we kind of look through the back of the field, the guys that were in that heat race, starting from 31st on, that's Brandon Scott. All those drivers in the heat race are locked into the field, qualifying, set the lineup, and then those guys were just kind of ran through to ensure that iRacing allowed them all into the race. So we're going to I believe, go one more lap and then go green. We'll have to check and see if the pace car goes down. Yep, pace lights are off, so we're going to go green this time by... Nope, just kidding. There we go. That's what I thought. Iowa usually does 2 laps before the start of the race. So, yeah, RC Anderson, Ryan Lutz, Scott Crump, those guys are really, really good at this Iowa track. Nick Massey, last year's champion, does start in 6th. Another driver that can really probably move forward here, but this car is going to be very loose all day, especially under the hot Iowa sun.
That'll be interesting to see how they get those cars adjusted, how they can handle the cars, and who will be able to come out with their second win of the season. Will be Cameron Rich making his way up, repeating, or will we see one of the favorites, Crump, RC Anderson, or any of the rest make their way through?
Yep. Remember, there is no locking yourself into the playoffs here. We use points, old NASCAR style, and we're about to go old short track racing here at Iowa.
Here we go. RC Anderson going to lead us to the green flag. And our race 2 to start the ERSCA season is underway. Green flag in the air. We are racing the Bat Flip 170 at Iowa is underway. Emerson, Lutz, and Crump, the top 3 as we start off.
Yep. Battle is here for 5th spot, looks like, maybe 6th now, as Matthew Weeks drives underneath Nick Massey. And you are going to be able to make moves on the inside, but that outside line is going to have the momentum down these straightaways here at Iowa. Side-by-side battle here between Ethan Burrell and Matthew Weeks. That's the first battle as Anderson is pulled away from Lutz up at the front of the field. And now Weeks and tucks in behind his teammate, Ethan Burrell. Out front, though, RC Anderson, clean track. And RC is coming off a win earlier tonight in elite racing at Las Vegas, but he's going to be challenged by Ryan Lutz. And Lutz is kind of a short track master. This is not surprising at all.
Lutz to the inside. Look to try to clear him off the corner. Down the backstretch they go. Lutz will dive down in once again. Try to slide up in front, and we'll take over the race lead. Here come to complete lap number 3. And we have a new race leader.
Anderson back to the inside, though, on Ryan Lutz. These two battling it out hard early in this one. You know, Anderson definitely doesn't want to let Lutz kind of get away. The kind of history that I've seen Ryan Lutz driving at these short tracks is once that 36 car gets into the lead, it is so difficult to get him out of the lead unless he makes a mistake.
Here comes Tucker now into the mix as well, making a 3-car battle up front now for the race lead.
We saw this 24 car drive from the back of the field all the way to the front at Daytona, and he was there pretty much the entire time. So, you know, Dalton Tucker is definitely one I'm, you know, considering. This is our first, you know, real, not plate track. Whatever we're expecting is, you know, from Daytona kind of out the window, and we're seeing early who can really put down fast laps, who can kind of drive these tracks that require the big brake pedal.
Lutz out front and starting to pull away, now up by almost 0.4 of a second. Anderson will close in just a little bit as they come through 3 and 4, but gap starting to pull out here. Race leader Lutz.
Here's last year's champion Nick Massey, and then further back, Jeff Green and Scott Crump. Crump's been sliding back to 9th already. Can't help but wonder if this is an effort to save the tires on this 51 car.
Each team gets 5 sets of tires for this race, so it'll be interesting to see when and if they use those and how many they do end up actually using.
Already a green flag feel to this race. And if you divide this thing up, the 170 laps, you're likely going to have to pit once, probably twice, though maybe some people will try to stretch it on that one pit stop. Should we get some cautions, however, that would mean that these guys are going to try to take tires, and I think they're going to take tires every single time down pit road until they start to run out of sets.
Yeah, tires can definitely make more of a impact here on short track racing than we saw at the super speedway racing. So probably right on there, David, and it'll just be interesting to see how many cautions we actually do get here tonight.
Every car wound up on that outside lane, and without the capability of those new tires to drop to the bottom of the racetrack, I think we're going to see these guys kind of single out and try to turn some laps.
Look about the top 5 or 6 now, single file up here together. Nick Massey joining the battle as well, as he's behind James Heater, looking to try to take that 4th spot.
Heater jumped to the bottom of the track, and you just see how much gap it opened up from Dalton Tucker back to James Heater. Inside line just not really working with that drive off the corner. These guys unable to put the pedal down under the hot sun, hot track temperature. Car's going to roll a lot better up near the top of the track, right where James Heater's running it now. You'll watch him pull away from Nick Massey down the straightaway.
Massey takes a look to the inside, couldn't make it work there through the start finish line. Take a look again through 1 and 2. The Heater's looking under Tucker for 3rd.
Yep. Tucker heavy after R.C. Anderson here for that 3rd spot, trying to keep in touch with Ryan Lutz. Lutz just in this very familiar spot. Ryan Lutz knows these racetracks, these short tracks. He can just save tires while he's doing this too. It's really remarkable. Lutz drives these things just completely different from anybody I've ever seen. It's really pretty crazy, and it's no coincidence he's running the Bat Flip podcast car here for the Bat Flip 170, and he's got it out front.
Yeah, that's good advertising right there for the Bat Flip podcast. Not only do they sponsor the race, but their car out here leading early. We're only 14 laps in. You see Johnny Thomas making his way into the picture as well.
Yep, Johnny Thomas trying to move up. We saw him run really well last week at Daytona. End up getting caught in that last lap crash, as well as many other competitors, all pretty much but Cameron Rich. And Rich right there going, looks like a lap down. 47 car, maybe not the best start, but to defend his win last week, or 2 weeks ago rather.
Lutz now out by a half a second over R.C. Anderson in the 2nd spot. Gap kind of stabilized here for a little bit. Not able to pull out too much farther from Anderson.
Ooh, Tucker in the wall in 3rd. 24 car bounced it off the wall. That's harmless contact, though. I don't even think he received an incident point for that. iRacing sends out incident points if you make contact with other cars or the wall. And if you make some brief contact with another car, maybe like a bump and run style, it won't actually give out any points. It'll just say, hey, you made some contact. Don't do that again. I'm sure that's what Tucker got there. We also have Nick Massey moving into 4th.
Massey slowly making his way up. Defending champion trying to get up here and make his mark on the season already.
These guys have to start thinking about that final championship run. It's 10 races. The final 10 races of our season will be used to determining the champion of the ERSCA 2021 season. It's not that far-fetched to think you need to go ahead and start thinking about points racing, getting those laps led, getting the most laps led, trying to keep your car clean, and most importantly, finishing up in the top 10.
He's got around Heater now trying to come after Tucker. There's Tate Lytle back there in a group of cars.
Big battle here.
Joe Francis in there.
Yep, Robert Hill as well in the 05, Tate. And then right in front of this is Colin Fambro in the 5 car. That's one we're kind of expecting to move towards the front. Pretty shocked by both the 5 and the 56's qualifying run, having to start in that heat race. And this, having to use up your tires in this traffic, that's definitely going to make it very tough for these guys to get up to and around that top 10 who are able to drive single file and keep it clean here early in the race.
Looking at the battle here. Here comes Tucker for the second spot on Anderson. See if he can run down Lutz, who's now almost got a full second out on front of these two guys while they were doing battle.
Just that little bit of side by side, you saw the gap widen between Ryan Lutz and the second place car, which is now Dalton Tucker.
See if Tucker now with some clean racetrack out in front of him can try to run Lutz back down, as we've already completed 20 laps of our 170.
Yep, race flying by, and I imagine it'll continue to fly by. These guys starting to realize this car is not going to drive or handle very well at all over the course of the long run. The tires will go away little by little here as we watch Josh Adams going after, I believe, 22 car of Lowry. Kenny Lowry. So, Dylan Jones looking on in the 03 car. Dylan Thomas looking on in the 03 car, rather. And Nick and Delicato behind them. So tough to pass here once the tires get old and start to wear. These guys have to really find every inch of speed out of these race cars and try to save those tires and have as much of an advantage later in these runs. I wonder if we'll see Scott Crump making his way up towards the front. Maybe both of these Pro Edge cars, Burrell and Weeks, they looked like they were kind of saving stuff early in the run. Jeff Green right here in 8th spot, running very well. And Tucker has eaten into the Ryan Lutz lead a little bit.
Just a little bit, not too much. Kind of stabilized the lead at about 0.8 of a second. I'm watching it on the scoring pylon there, almost down to 0.7.
Maybe Tucker a little bit faster here than Ryan Lutz, though Lutz likely trying to save his tires, and I'm sure keeping an eye on that gap, and if it hits a certain amount, Lutz will maybe hit the gas pedal, drive a little bit harder, and pull it away. But you can see he's still over 100 miles an hour in the center of the corners. Josh Sobel is our productions guy up here, doing a fantastic job as always for the Bat Flip Podcast 170 here for ERSCA. And Josh, if we could hit maybe another one of those drivers with that graphic, maybe even Tucker, and just see how fast these guys are going in the corner. See if he drops below 100. He's at 101, so Lutz about 2 miles an hour faster in the center of the corner than Dalton Tucker was that last lap.
Yeah, and that's allowed Ryan Lutz to pull out just a little bit, almost a full second now, over Dalton Tucker to R.C. Anderson, about 1.5 seconds back from the lead.
Great features here, able to be brought up to you by Belly Up Sports. Being able to kind of check out our battle and our gap and how fast these guys are going each time at the line. Gap's going to maintain, though. It's going to be right at 0.9 of a second for Tucker up to Ryan Lutz. 24 car looking very sporty, but just not able to cut into that lead. Ryan Lutz just so good at leading these races.
I've kind of been watching the splits between all of the cars, and really nobody making up too much time at all. Everyone kind of settled in now inside the top 10. Even Nick Massey, who we just saw on the screen there for a minute, is kind of hanging out in that 4th place spot, about 0.5 second back of Anderson in the 3rd spot.
These guys trying to give each other a little bit of room, working very hard. And Johnny Thomas and Josh Personette running together, getting a little bit close there, entering turn 1. This will be for the 20th position there. So Thomas up by Personette, though Personette on the attack. You can see right behind him, Tate Lytle and Colin Fambro, nose to tail. Those two have moved forward pretty much simultaneously throughout the field, just in front of Harrison Tayan. See whose cars are working well. Lytle and Fambro both just really working nicely, able to kind of drive to the bottom of the track, pick up speed on the cars in front of them. Not a whole lot of cars throughout the field able to do this. So I think we need to definitely keep our eye on this 56 car moving forward. He really does look good right now.
This is back around the 22nd position. These two doing battle.
Co-host of our podcast joining with us, on YouTube. Damian Leininger, unable to race in this one tonight due to some internet connection issues, but we hope Damian will be able to get that fixed and back with us next time. There's a car on the wall. Plug the Bat Flip podcast one more time, graciously sponsoring the race tonight. $20 goes to the race winner, so these guys, as always, running for a cash prize in addition to those coveted points. Battle for the second spot remains pretty well in the hands of Dalton Tucker, and he's pretty much unable to beat into this Ryan Lutz lead, man. Lutz is very consistent lap after lap. He doesn't beat himself, and the only times that I see people beating Ryan Lutz is when he does beat himself, choosing the wrong pit strategy or, running against people too hard and putting himself in harm's way.
He continues to pull out over a full second now over Dalton Tucker. Lead kind of action. Now they're starting to, the front two are starting to pull away a little bit from RC Anderson a little bit, and even Nick Massey in the fourth spot.
Here comes Scott Crump on Jeff Green. Those guys again, they're teammates over in Elite Racing across the board, but here in ERSCA, they are not teammates at all. It's Crump running for Low Line Racing, and Jeff Green running for Rubbins Racing Motorsports, but Crump tightens up through the center of the corner. He's going to lose 2, maybe 3 positions. Here comes Chris Wright in the 69. That was one of the drivers kind of eligible for the championship last year in our final race, along with, I believe, Scott Crump as well. That went to Nick Massey. Just like that, man, one mistake, and look at that. James Heater by Chris Wright, maybe past Jared Mogard in the hunt. And yeah, Wright will clear Crump.
It's one thing about short track racing. You have the opportunity almost every lap to kind of make a move when you're battling like that. But if you mistime your move in a situation like that, you could risk a lot more than just that one spot you were going for, and it pays off in a negative way there for Crump, as he's now sitting on the 10th place spot, almost outside the top 10.
Beautiful looking 01 car for Nick Indelicato. Here trying to pull alongside Kenny Lowry in the 22, just behind Dylan Thomas. Good side-by-side battle. One of the kind of great features of Iowa as we look back at the progress of Tate Lytle and Colin Fambro, and then a snarling pack including Johnny Thomas, Brandon Key, Harrison Talon, Joe Francis, Tyler McIntosh, as well as 29 car Matthew Bayuk. Iowa really, this is the best Iowa has to offer here, though. Side by side, 5 and 6 rows deep.
This group's kind of been together for a little bit now, trying to sort it out. Johnny Thomas looking to the inside there. Talon on the top side.
The outside lane's definitely going to prevail for these guys. The ones that are kind of trapped in the bottom, you see McIntosh here kind of having to give up some speed to these guys on the top. Bayuk by Key. Now he'll go by both Thomas and McIntosh maybe. Johnny's trapped in the middle and going backwards. The stuff might be used up on that 83 car. Almost 4 wide.
Yeah, very close there. Was it McIntosh that got split down the bottom line there? Got a little loose, almost got into Thomas. Got sent to the back. Now Key and Thomas are going to both move up to the top side, try to regain the momentum they just lost.
Adam Pettit able to join this battle in the 57, as well as Brandon Scott in the 99. Just like that, you know, you lose momentum so quickly, and that also will heat up your tires and hurt you for more and more laps. Now Jordan Owens gets into the thick of it in the 45 car. The more these guys battle, the quicker Ryan Lutz is going to catch up to them in the back of the field. There he is.
Eventually we'll start having to deal with lap traffic as we've gone 43 green flag laps.
Yep, what an incredible kind of turnaround from that last lap at Daytona, where we had, I think, maybe 3 major crashes all in the same lap. Here, been clean and green. I have only seen maybe a couple of cars hit the wall, and those were very light brushes. These guys driving wonderful races so far.
I wonder if Tucker and Anderson are doing battle again, because all of a sudden that gap has almost doubled. For your race leader, Ryan Lutz, it's almost 2 seconds now. For a while, it was sitting there barely at just over a second, and now it's almost 2 full seconds over Dalton Tucker in second.
Anderson definitely putting the pressure on Tucker. You see there, he's now down to 100 miles an hour, and that center corner speed will continue to drop throughout the run. Though I think R.C. Anderson maybe backed off a little bit and tried to save his tires some here throughout the run. He's been working on that. That's been kind of something he's been targeting, and when the pro driver kind of targets something in the car, they'll eventually figure it out. So I'm not shocked that R.C. Anderson has definitely gotten better at this tire saving thing. He's long called short tracks and bigger super speedways his Achilles heel.
Well, while they do battle, look who's coming into the picture as well. Here comes Nick Massey in the 48 car. While Anderson and Tucker were doing battle, it's allowed him to close in just a little bit. I wonder if Tucker now has either worn out the tires or if he's decided to try to lay back and save a little bit of tire, because he's fallen away from Anderson and closing in. Massey's going to swallow him up here in a second.
I think Tucker might have overused the stuff just a little bit, and you can see just how much, like, that slight amount of overdriving that 24 car has kind of cost him now in the run. Tucker now, falling back into the clutches of Massey, clearly lost the back bumper of R.C. Anderson. Robert Hill, it looks like he's gone a lap down, so we're starting to get into those guys, the back of the field. Going to have to be paying attention, being careful, holding their lanes, and it's going to get crowded, I think, up here at the front very quickly.
Yeah, lap traffic, and I think that Tucker was slowing them up a little bit because Anderson's chewed into the lead just a little bit. Now, that could be, like David said, because Ryan Lutz is starting to negotiate lap traffic. That can slow the leader down a little bit. But I think Tucker was slowing the group up just a little bit and allowed Ryan Lutz to pull out on him by about another second.
Yep, as we go here, we'll have to see where these guys catch these lapped cars. As we've noted that a number of them have gone a lap down. In fact, one of the guys that's about to go a lap down is the head of our league, Johnny Thomas. He's very nearly heading towards being a lap down. He's right in front of Ryan Lutz. I think the tires are all used up on this 83 machine.
Sometimes Ryan Lutz is in the toughest position, being the first car coming through as the leader. I mean, especially when you look at Johnny Thomas, he's in the middle of a battle here. He doesn't really want to give up his racing line, but he knows the leader's coming through. He has to kind of give way and let him go, but you don't want to go down a lap at the same time. It's a tough position that Johnny Thomas is about to be in.
So as we run here, these guys aren't going to be, pitting anytime soon unless you have a strategy of short pitting and trying to intentionally make this race on 2 stops. If you're going to make it on 2 stops, you're going to want to have fresh tires for as many laps as you can here. And I wonder if some of these guys might consider short pitting up the run by about 30 laps here and maybe pitting on lap 60. You can go about 80 to 90 laps on fuel here at Iowa. But that 2-stop strategy may indeed be a way to go if those tires really do help you if you have fresher tires for longer in the run.
Well, you're saying here, David, it might be, even though you can make it on gas, the tire is definitely probably more valuable than how long you can make it on a fuel run.
Potentially, it's going to be up to these guys, and if they have crew chiefs or even just their own decision making, it's are you going to be able to push that fuel load all the way through to lap 85 or so to cut this race in half, right? 170 laps divided by 2, that'll be 85. If you can make it to lap 86, you can make it on 1 stop, so you won't spend as much time on pit road, but you'd also be going slower with the older tires, having to go all the way to lap 85. We see guys struggling on those old tires, much like Johnny Thomas, like Robert Hill in this 05.
So then let me pose another question. You got your race leader out here, Ryan Lutz. Would you, I know you race sometimes, if you're the leader, would you try to make it a 1-stop race then? And then for Johnny Thomas, now that he's about to go a lap down, would that change your decision to try to make it a 2-stop race to try to get new, fresh tires?
Yes.
Now that you're a lap down.
You're gonna be doing that. I think you're gonna be thinking differently. Ryan Lutz wants to spend as little time on pit road as possible. I think that's pretty clear. You know, if you're on pit road, you're not on the track. You're not gaining any time. So as little time on pit road as possible, that's the best you can do. It's Mogard and Crump with a great battle here. Yeah, but if you're Johnny Thomas, I mean, short pitting might give you an advantage, right, earlier on. You can make up some time. Maybe a caution falls your way later, and you're able to kind of keep that track position that you gained from short pitting. It's not going to win you the race as Crump's going to get into Mogard here. Will Mogard save it? Yep. Wow. Great piece of driving by the 00. Bit of a questionable move there from the 51.
Crump gets the pass, gives him a little bump to get out of the way, take the spot back. That allows Campbell to come into the picture as well. He's going to try to take advantage and take over that 10th place spot.
Gerald Campbell for sure seething a little bit that he kind of got knocked out of the lead last week. Was definitely one of the more dominant cars at Daytona. Got knocked out of the lead. Lo and behold, he wound up finishing in the top 5 due to kind of being in the back and being able to snake through the wreck. And he ended up being our number 2 point man currently. So, and with Cameron Rich having those early issues, Gerald Campbell's looking to be the points leader after tonight.
I want to say it was Crump that had the computer issues. He started on the pole last week, right? And then had the connection issues right away, fell to the back. So trying to rally from a bad points day last week at Daytona. The solid top 10 right now.
Yeah, Scott Crump definitely had that computer issue, and we were kind of questioning it at the time, but not realizing that he had been lagging out of races all week and ended up having to jump out of that one as well. Has fixed those issues. You can see the 51 on track perfectly fine. Though, you know, if you're the 00, you got moved out of the way by that car that's right in front of you last time. Might put a bumper to him, maybe even right here.
Almost thought about doing it.
Mogard thinks better of it. You can't really put yourself in bad positions, especially if you're running for these valuable points. You just got to make up spots any way you can as Green gets into the wall and Mogard gets into Crump.
You give him a bumper there, whether by choice or not, to the back of the 51 car. So he dented that back bumper just a little bit. Is that Indelicato coming to the inside too?
Sure is. Yep, Nick Indelicato making that inside lane work. One of the only cars able to run down there. I think he may have saved up his tires a little bit at the beginning of this run to be able to make those runs on the inside. You can see those guys on the outside don't have a lot of extra speed as Indelicato pulls up alongside of him. So that 01 car definitely looking pretty stout, able to hold the bottom and drive off the corner.
Indelicato trying to make a run up here inside the top 10.
Thomas also catching this group in the 03 car. Mogard, I wonder if there's any nose damage on that 00 after that contact down the front straightaway. He's quickly kind of falling to the back of this group as Indelicato has just roared through 4 cars.
Here comes Dylan Thomas as well, as David said, trying to get into the battle. Jeff Green trying to hold on to a top 10 here as well. I'm going to look to the inside, can't make it work now. I'm going to lose a little bit of momentum. Mogard can go back around.
Thought he was losing control there, but it was actually an attempted pass on Jeff Green.
Mogard drives down to the bottom, looking to the inside of Green.
And if you're new with us here and you're just tuning in and you're like, Jeff Green, that name sounds familiar. That is indeed the former Cup Series driver, NASCAR Cup Series driver, Busch Series champion, Jeff Green. As we are under caution for the first time, and it was going to be Josh Adams right there, but I wonder if Indelicato was involved. I don't think so. Josh Adams looks like he might have lost it coming off a 4, and he's going to tow it back to pit road. So tough break for Josh Adams. Daytona pole sitter that ended up, I believe, not making the race.
Yeah, I think that was everybody's pick for the Daytona race after he won our clash and one of the duels, was going to sit on the pole, and then unfortunately couldn't make the race.
No, he didn't.
Here we go, going to take a look, replay at it.
This is the replay, and Adams, yep, just loses it there. Old tires, hot racetrack. Ooh, and he does get clipped. He gets who was that? Might have been Zishan Dura. Can't make it out on the replay there. It might have been Richard Hines in the 87 car. Tough break for Richard, running at the back of the field there, and Adams with a quick loop. And, you know, Hines kind of had nowhere to go there. See it up front. He's up high. He's going to head down low, and nowhere to go.
Tough break for both of them too, because Adams did such a good job of keeping that 95 car off the wall after spinning out. Gets clipped there by a car coming through.
This is a much requested caution, I'm sure. Those drivers definitely screaming for tires throughout. Maybe Emily can go and try to maybe get some information from some of those teams on whether or not they're going to be, trying to make it to the end here. 100 laps. If you save enough fuel, you might be able to get there.
Yeah, guys, I'm just gonna jump in real quick because you were talking about it earlier, how taking one stop or two could benefit certain drivers. So how can this kind of first caution help some of these guys?
Absolutely. Let's see, and we'll kind of keep our eye on pit stops here as well. Ryan Lutz, though, staying out, or he might have already made his pit stop. I think 36 probably already been on pit road. There's almost no way he would have he would have been staying out here on 68 lap old tires. Looking through the running order, looks about the same. Chris Wright looks like he picked up a couple of spots, maybe one on Matthew Weeks. And Delicato might have picked up one there, as maybe Jeff Green got some damage fixed after that incident with Mogard and Crump. Currently, and as you see his car right here on the screen, the 56 car of Tate Lytle, that's your biggest mover of the race. He's doing a wonderful job. We did try to keep an eye on him early with his progress, and after pit stops, he's up to 14th or 15th, 22 spots up from his starting spot. Through the field, right behind Tate Lytle here in 15th is Colin Fambro in the 5 car, and right behind him, that's Michael Goodman in the 44. These guys kind of started all in the same spot and have all moved up together. Goodman putting together another impressive run after a top 10 finish at Daytona, but no one's been able to touch this man. We're going to try to pick up Josh Adams for interview, I believe, with Emily. So let's throw it down to you, Emily.
Hey, Josh, do you have a copy?
I do.
Hi, how are you? Can you just kind of take us through what you saw out there?
I saw myself going really slow and everybody just driving right by me. I don't know what was wrong.
So we're only 69 laps in. What's the kind of likelihood that you're going to get back out there, get your car ready to go?
I've got 4 minutes of damage left. I got hit pretty hard. I don't know how many points we can go out and get. We'll try and pick up a couple if it's there, but it's pretty killed.
All right, Josh. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Tough break there for Josh Adams. Definitely not the way you want your night to go there, but we are going to get back going racing here once again at Iowa. We'll have to see whether or not anybody has anything for Ryan Lutz.
Not only tough break here for Josh Adams tonight, but not making the Daytona race. It's definitely not the way to start the season, and now he's gonna have a really big hole to dig himself out of, not being able to pick up any points really here tonight. Green flag getting ready to be back in the air. Ryan Lutz, RC Anderson, gonna lead us back to the green flag, and we'll see here after our first pit stop who made changes and if anyone can chase down that 36 car.
I think it's going to be about whether or not you want to push early in the run and expect another caution, and there's one right there. Caution out in turn 1. So quick crash here. Looks like maybe the 6 of Brandon Key involved. 30 of Jake Finch. That's going to be the 44 of David Strackbine. Scott Crump involved as well. Ooh, one of our kind of expected to be high in points guys. We'll have to go back and take a look at what happened here. Looks like a fairly big crash in turn 1.
Yeah, it sounds like an aggressive restart. Wonder if somebody didn't go as expected or checked up.
This is in front of these guys. 99 car is what starts this, and oh, Key is nowhere to go. 44 car looped it, stopping, but these guys are running very low brake biases. That's definitely what the deal was there. Right there, Lowry into Scott. Great job of wreck avoidance by a number of those guys. Just nowhere to go for Brandon Key. Let's go on board with that 6 car. Tough break for Brandon Key here.
'99 car being Brandon Scott getting turned around, and
oh, you see what happened to Scott Crump there as well. Robert Hill got taken out by that 99 sliding down the track. Finch around as well in the 30 car. See maybe what we can see from Scott Crump's view as well. Sliding up the track, sliding up, and then yeah, Hill comes down. Takes out Jake Finch, takes out Crump.
chain reaction.
Yep, I think that's just one of those kind of big wrecks in the center of the corner. Tough for people to kind of choose a lane and find a way through. I definitely saw the 45 of Jordan Owens hitting the wall as well. So I run in a series. Ryan Lutz does too. So does RC Anderson, called Elite Racing. We're going to kind of cross-sponsor here, try to promote each series. And if you don't join us Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays in Elite Racing, you're missing out. So we've got a quick commercial here to jump to. And while we're under caution, let's hit it.
All right, welcome back to the ERSCA Bat Flip 170 here from Iowa. David, you want to talk anything else about Elite Racing there as we saw that wonderful commercial?
No, you'll get to see me drive if you tune in on Sundays and Mondays. And then you'll hear me announce Tuesdays and Wednesdays. We also have IndyCar on Thursdays. Truck Series is Sunday nights. Home Place Beer, or rather, I believe that's SMRI. Xfinity Cars on Monday. And then the Dirt Late Models on Tuesday. NASCAR Cup Series cars Wednesday. Indy Cars on Friday. Full week of racing over on the Elite Racing Network. So go sub to YouTube and join us for both races if you're a fan of most of these drivers, Ryan Lutz and RC Anderson especially. I believe Nick Massey, Ethan Burrell. So 4 of our top 5 are Elite Racing drivers. So you'll get to see those guys as well as, hey, me, all week.
All right, looks like we're getting ready go back green flag racing. Lutz and Anderson gonna lead us back to the green flag, and we'll try this again. Saw our first caution after about 73 laps, and then we had the second caution come out on the restart. Nick Massey on the high side already. Trying to go after Dalton Tucker, Ethan Burrell, who's been quietly inside the top 10. Now trying to make a charge inside the top 5.
Burrell probably wise not to jump into the 3-wide battle there, but I think that caution might have pushed these guys to being able to make it all the way to the end on this fuel run. So it's going to be about saving those tires for a long green flag run. Should one happen here, we did have the caution, so possible that another one comes out if these guys start getting a little more aggressive and pushing a little harder. But for now, as Nick Massey takes third from Dalton Tucker and Burrell heads for fourth, should be good to see if the chess game of whether or not you can make it on fuel ends this race.
And like you said earlier in the race, David, I think that if that caution comes out, you will see everybody back down pit road again to get a set of tires. Don't want to be left out there on old tires. I guess it just depends on how quick that caution would come. And you see Nick Massey there under pressure from the 7 car of RC Anderson, falling back a little bit because here comes Ethan Burrell as well.
We saw RC Anderson fall back a little bit to start the last run at the start of the race, and then he really came back forward and was really eating into the lead of Ryan Lutz once the caution came out there for Josh Adams to spin, preceding that big wreck. So can't help but wonder if RC maybe just taking it easy here, trying to save up those tires. Ethan Burrell, though, definitely trying to push on the inside of the 7 car. Tucker behind this group. And let them sing here. These guys pushing hard, trying to get everything they can while the cars are bunched up on the restart.
Working on almost to the halfway point already here in the Bat Flip 170. Nick Massey up to the 2nd spot and kind of holding Lutz at a half-second lead at the moment. We'll see if Ryan Lutz can pull away. See if RC Anderson gets back up there and challenges Massey for the lead. That's when we saw Ryan Lutz really expand his lead earlier, when they got into a battle back here for the 2nd and 3rd position.
We have a quick little bit of information on it regarding our current fastest mover through the field, Tate Lytle. Go down to pit road with Emily and see what he had to say about moving through the field.
Yeah, I spoke to Tate just very briefly right when that second caution happened, and just about him moving 22 spots up, and he said it happened a lot quicker than he thought it was going to happen, and they're just hoping to jump the same amount, even more. So we're kind of watching him to have an aggressive rest of the drive and see how it goes.
Thank you, Emily. That was absolutely perfect as we kind of watch him in a battle here with Dylan Thomas. 56 car has been moving through the field really nicely. He's up here with his teammates now. Josh Clark behind him, and up in front, Matthew Weeks and Ethan Burrell, all Pro Edge Toyotas.
Yeah, that was awesome. Emily giving us the inside scoop there on Tate, especially with not really having too many cautions here early on, giving us the insight of what's going on. And we'll see if Lytle can make his way up inside the top 10, just sitting outside right now. See if he can keep making his way up, contend up here as the race goes on. Looking at Burrell and Anderson here again. Tucker in the battle as well.
RC was able to hold off Ethan, and when I joined the chat earlier, Ethan had mentioned to me that he was worried that he and Lutz had been beating RC too much in the long runs, and now that RC has been able to save those tires, he's not real happy that RC's able to kind of keep up the speed across the whole run. He said RC figured out that you don't just have to lead the first 20 laps of a run and then fall back. you can kind of hold off and save your stuff. And that's bad when a pro driver figures out how to really, rotate the car and turn these things on old tires into speed.
Looks like Dalton Tucker starting to make his way forward now, once again trying to come after Ethan Burrell for that 4th spot. The lead's closing for Ryan Lutz. Nick Massey is closing in down to 0.2 of a second. He's coming.
First time all race that anyone's put any pressure on this 36 Bat Flip Podcast Chevrolet. Ryan Lutz, though, has this kind of tendency to kind of play with his food a little bit. He'll let Nick Massey get up close to him, and then he'll put the motor down and drive away. Also thinking about gas mileage as well. These guys don't want to pit again for sure, but that's right on the edge of their window, going to be up over 90 laps. We've seen cars start to run out around 95 to 100, so Ryan Lutz also might be kind of holding off the gas pedal and trying to conserve a little bit of fuel.
Also could be the tire issue as well. Don't want to push too hard and burn up those tires, but Nick Massey definitely there within 1/10 of a second now. Closing in on Ryan Lutz. We're going to keep an eye on this one. See what happens. Could we have a new race leader here in the next couple laps?
That's the reason Nick Massey won our championship last year. Got a lot of speed, got a lot of poise, and that's what it's going to take to win the championship this season as well. Lutz, though, able to run that high line as the leader, and that's what you want to be right there, able to carry the speed down the front straightaway. That'll also save your tires, just allow you to keep the momentum up. Ryan Lutz is going to be able to do everything he wants here in defense of the lead around Nick Massey.
They continue to do battle, and if Massey can draw even with him here, they'll allow a couple of guys back there to close in as well. You can see slowly but surely Anderson coming back into the picture as well in that 7 car, just a little ways back, about inside 0.7 of a second now.
More pressure Nick Massey puts on Ryan Lutz here, the more it's going to draw RC Anderson closer to this battle for the lead, and Ethan Burrell as well as Dalton Tucker. This could be a 5-car battle for the lead real soon.
Yeah, it could be interesting, really fast. Massey drawing even there coming out of turn 4, but Lutz with the run down the front stretch. They'll tuck in, heading into 1 and 2 once again, going down to that bottom line.
See it back there, side-by-side battle for 6th. Give it to Matthew Weeks. For now, though, the front 5 side-by-side. Weeks now has that preferred outside lane with Chris Wright alongside him. Yep, gonna clear him right there, I believe.
I was just gonna say Tate Lytle up to the 11th spot, and I was looking at the intervals. Who's closing in on Indelicato here for a top 10 real quick.
That 56 car has moved up 26 positions so far today. We talked about James Heater starting in the top 10, running right there in 12th spot. Still a good run for him, but Tate has just motored through the field, and you'll notice that bright orange car behind him, they have worked pretty much in sync all the way up. Colin Fambro in the 5 as well, just driving through the field, those two heading towards the front. You see it there, Fambro, one of the tire changers on one of the pro cars, and he's definitely working well. Jeff Green, James Heater, both those guys started in the top 10, and they're getting eaten up by these cars coming from the back.
Dylan Thomas right there behind Fambro as well. Back up front, looking at Nick Massey still applying the pressure to Lutz, and now here comes Burrell and Anderson to the mix as well. Tucker in there as well. They've caught him. They're coming within half a second now between Anderson and Massey. Man, these 3 have stuck together, and they're making their way towards the front now.
5-car battle for the lead, all within 1 second of leader Ryan Lutz. This is definitely the most pressure Lutz has had to put up with. Maybe in any of the races he's run at Iowa in the past couple of years. Been very dominant at these short tracks, but these guys are showing why ERSCA is a really competitive league. Burrell, Anderson, really able to kind of catch up with Massey. Massey, though, the one that's putting the pressure on that 36 car and maybe forcing him to overdrive a little bit. and keeping everyone in touch with Ryan Lutz here on the second run.
Catching him's one thing, completing the pass is a whole nother thing to do here. Nick Massey has held with him probably for about the last 10 or so laps, but hasn't been able to find that advantage. You even draw even or clear the 36 of Ryan Lutz. Lutz still out front, basically almost from the green flag. We're looking at that 4th and 5th place battle. Ethan Burrell and Dalton Tucker.
It's been a dominant performance by Ryan Lutz, but you know, I wouldn't count any of these guys out. The fact that Massey was able to drive up to him, the fact that RC was catching him through the last run, I just think that this race is far too early to call, and we need to kind of keep our eye on these guys running up to Ryan Lutz. Though, you know, if we go back to pre-race, this 36 car was my pick. He's the guy at these short tracks.
Oh yeah, I think still plenty of racing to go. 67 more laps here to decide this one in the Bat Flip 170. I know it was super speedway racing at Daytona our last race, but still, I feel like it shows you that anything can happen here in the ERSCA season. Green and Fambro making contact a little bit here.
Great catch by Josh Sobel, our productions guy there, jumping on this battle for the 13th position. It's all happening behind James Heater for 12th and Tate Lytle in 11th. Fambro and Lytle really have been moving towards the front, but this is a snarling pack of cars running very close together.
Dylan Thomas now going to jump to the inside of Fambro, trying to make the pass for that 14th spot.
Fambro up top again. You can see just how much momentum that outside line brings, but it kind of looks to me like this group is held up a little bit behind the 31 of Gerald Campbell, and these guys at the back of the group are pressuring each other, trying to kind of make moves where they don't necessarily have the advantages. Fambro gets in the back of Green in the middle of the corner.
Gonna move him up the track a little bit. Now he's going to stick that Camaro to the inside. Green, I think, touched the wall again there. That's going to lose another spot. Fambro will go on by, and here will come Dylan Thomas as well.
I wonder if Green's maybe not too happy about that move. Kind of put him in the wall, overdrove it a little bit, but we got a new top 10 member there. You just saw it kind of on the corner edge of your screen. 56 car around the 01, Tate Lytle into the top 10.
All right, so he's up 27 positions, I think, now. So if he's come up that far, let's see how far inside the top 10 he can make it. He's still got a little bit of time. Time's definitely running down, but we'll see how far inside the top 10 he can finish here today.
Yeah, would be probably beneficial to him to get a caution flag, I think. But regardless of that, you know, a great run so far by Tate, who was maybe the guy who could have won the race had one of those big wrecks not happened there coming into turn 3, like the second big wreck. I think Tate was caught up in that one when Josh Clark came back up onto the track.
Yeah, I think he was actually running in the second spot when he got taken out there in Daytona. Having another solid run here inside the top 10 now. There's Johnny Thomas running in the 28th position, so still kind of struggling here at Iowa to start the season.
Iowa is a very difficult racetrack. We've seen, you know, the best of the best come in here and end up running poorly. You know, even especially like guys like Josh Adams, you know, Chuck Sweeting here, just not able to dial it up when the track is very slick and loose like this, when the tires wear a ton. It's not for everybody, and some guys struggle more on that track than others, and that's kind of the beauty of what this is going to bring about this season here in ERSCA. We're going to travel to a ton of different tracks, a ton of different styles, and we're going to truly determine the best of the best when we crown the champion at the end of the chase.
We started to navigate lap traffic here, and that's allowed our race leader, Ryan Lutz, to start to pull out from Nick Massey a little bit here. 0.6 of a second lead over Massey now.
Looks like this 36 car really just started to come back to him, able to just stay on the top. He never had to run the bottom. He never had to push at all to kind of defend against Massey, and now able to pull away, start lapping cars. He's going to come up on Brandon Key, who was unfortunately involved in that last incident. No luck so far for Brandon Key. A couple of incidents not his own making tonight and last week at Daytona. But oh man, cars into each other there, and Green's going to go around.
Gonna make contact with the inside wall. It should bring out another caution, but it looks like we're gonna stay green.
It will if he goes on the track. Yep,
There it is, our
Caution
third
out.
caution.
Ooh, tough break. If he had kept it on the apron, the caution would not have come out there, but Green looks like he made contact with Josh Clark there and got a little squirrely behind on the steering, and around he went into the inside wall.
Oh, for Nick Massey, that might be a massive break here. It would be interesting, like we talked about here, David, as we take a look at the replay. Would expect probably everyone to come down pit road now.
We're going to need a face-on view of that wreck, I think, because I don't know if you could tell, but Green moved up towards the wall, got a little bit loose, and overcorrected down the track, and that's where he made the contact with Josh Clark. And I think you're right. Everybody's going to be on pit road. This is to guarantee that you'll be able to make it on one more stop, like without having to pit again. Yep, there he goes. Slides down the track, bounces it off the wall. Great job by James Heater not to get any damage running into him. Here they come. Everybody onto pit road.
There's your race leader, Ryan Lutz, coming on. We have 55 laps left to go here in this one. Nick Massey, Ethan Burrell, Dalton Tucker.
This will be pit road, a busy place here, and this is a place where any mistake can be massively magnified. Speeding on pit road, that'll end your night. You know, even just a slow entry could cost Ryan Lutz or R.C. Anderson multiple spots here. Lutz able to get off. Massey tries to beat him out, won't be able to do it. To watch timing and scoring for our stewards to see if anybody sped or any penalties need to be divvied out for pit road. Looks like maybe the worst off from pit road was Colin Fambro. Lost a bunch of spots. Way in the back there, he might have even been speeding now as he continues to drop spots. Difficult break for Fambro, who had worked his way all the way through the field and into 14th spot.
Yeah, looking at our top 10 though, looks like everyone kind of stayed in the same position. Don't think really positions moved that much. Top 3, top 4 staying the same, even top 5, I guess, now that I look at it. Vital still in the 10th spot, so I think top 10 pretty much stayed the same there on pit road.
Yeah, I was just thinking about it, and Emily read my mind. Emily, do you got anything for us from maybe the guys down there in the Pro Edge? Maybe not. Regardless, good work by our stewards up there, catching some of these guys, maybe Fambro for the black flag. We got some iRacing monitoring, as well as our driver our steward Johnny Eckert doing a wonderful job adminning for us and ensuring these penalties are either legit or not. Regardless of that, Ryan Lutz will remain the leader after this third caution of the day. Lap 117 on the board. Fuel no longer an issue. It's a straight race to the end.
All right, so Josh Sobel, our producer, telling us that Delicado might have took fuel only a 1 second stop there for the 0-1 car. Have to keep an eye on Indelicado, who's running inside the top 10 and in the 9th position.
We'll have to see if any potential pit strategy either comes back to bite some of those guys. Oddly enough, Indelicado not able to make up any spots despite attempting that pit call. I wonder if...
You just read my mind there, David. I thought for sure with taking fuel only, he would have made up at least a few spots, but still in there in the 9th position. So
Let's see if maybe Emily Harlan has anything for us there after kind of jumping into some chats. Emily, you got us?
Yes, hi. I just jumped down and talked to Ryan Lutz, of course, who's first so far, and we got a little bit of a race left to go, but he said he was just hoping to stay ahead of Nick and the guys and hoping that he has a good rest of the run here. So we'll see how it goes.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Emily. Love those pit road reports. It's really cool that we kind of get a quick glimpse into what Ryan Lutz is thinking. Looks like he just wants to stay in the lead.
Well, he's done a good job of it so far as we get ready to go back. Green flag racing here at the Bat Flip 170. Green flag in the air. Good jump by Ryan Lutz, and might have even caught Nick Massey napping here a little bit, because here comes R.C. Anderson to the inside as well.
Yep, good jump for Lutz there. Definitely what he was looking for. He wanted to stay in the lead, as he mentioned to Emily, and now he'll have control of both lines by being able to run the outside. But RC has decided it's time to push. Zoomed around Massey. Massey will have to counter back.
Yeah, he'll pull a crossover move, look to the inside. Massey to the inside, Anderson side by side as they exit too.
Saw it there. Jared Mogart and Chris Wright, both around Ethan Burrell, did not get the best of restarts in the 37 car. He'd been kind of safely inside the top 5 group. Now we'll have to see if some of these new players like Chris Wright or Jared Mogart have anything for this, top 3 or 4.
Well, we've seen Anderson take a run, we've seen Massey take a run and pull up to Ryan Lutz, but neither one had been able to make the pass around him. As we close in on less than 50 laps left to go, we'll see if anybody can have a shot at the 36 car and actually make the move pay off. Or if Ryan Lutz will lead almost all of the laps here at the Bat Flip 170.
You kind of see the pace has been picking up right there. I mean, these guys are really motoring down into the corners. A lot more, a lot less give and take is going to be happening the rest of the race. A lot more kind of pushing aggressively on these tires. And if we get a green flag run to the end here, it could be a mistake by some of these guys up front running a little bit harder. And then maybe some of those guys in the back, I've seen Tate Lytle has kind of backed out of it, eased out just a little bit, hasn't really pushed as hard. Now he's surrounded by teammates here, going to try to maybe relax a little. Well, as I say that, he goes underneath teammate Matthew Weeks. So perhaps not. 56 car might have just gotten a poor restart, kind of similarly to his teammate Ethan Burrell.
Looks like it might have been a little bit of loose there coming off of turn 4 too. So wonder if he's dealing with that as well. And it looks like Anderson solidly into the second spot. Now I'm going to try to run down Camaro of Lutz up in front.
This might be the play here, is RC Anderson has kind of been holding back, I think, ever so slightly on the field throughout the day, trying to conserve tires and manage his stuff. Drives down to the bottom of the track there. He's really looking to try to put some more pressure on Lutz, but Lutz no stranger to pressure. He's been side by side with Nick Massey in the last run, and didn't matter to him. He was able to hold the lead anyway.
R.C. Anderson fastest on the track the last 3 laps, trying to close in on Ryan Lutz. Lutz, the highest Chevrolet driver. Anderson, the highest Ford driver. And back in the 8th spot is the highest Toyota of Ethan Burrell.
James Heater right there behind him as well. And you've seen Tate Lytle moving forward, as well as Matthew Weeks. So Tate Toyota certainly not underrepresented, though this is certainly the lowest they've been running. Burrell's been up in 5th. Ooh, Thomas sideways.
Another lap there, fastest for R.C. Anderson in that 7 car. Gap kind of staying at 2 to 3 tenths of a second. He is there. You just got to try to find a way to close up by another tenth or 2 to make the move on Lutz. David, with him pushing this hard this early, though, could that present a challenge down the road with still having close to 40 laps left to go tire-wise?
I think absolutely. I think this might not be the time to go. Depends on how clean the guys are behind you, but I think we're going to click off some laps here and run green. So pushing more right now might not be the play. And you see RC Anderson's kind of balanced out the lead. He's sitting right at about 0.3 of a second and just maintaining that. If he can maintain being within striking distance, he can, I think, accelerate up and try to kind of push the car a little bit more once we get into the run.
See how it goes. Looking back here at Campbell and Burrell in the 7th and 8th positions. And Burrell looking to try to get around Gerald Campbell, Dylan Thomas, James Heat to round out the top 10.
Here's a guy I want to highlight, and I think Josh read my mind. Just looking back here, saw Michael Goodman running in a P17, doing a fantastic job in this 44 Apex Sim racing car. Teammates of Damian Leininger and Ryan Lutz, the leader, and I'm sure he's taking some advice from Ryan Lutz and trying to kind of incorporate that into his driving style today. Damian unable to be with us, but would certainly be one of those guys up near the front of the field were he be able to be here. And certainly a good run for Goodman here, right amongst Joe Francis and Adam Pettit, a couple of guys that were up front for a bit at Daytona. Now here kind of in the mid-teens, also with Matthew Bayou, the 29 car. That car is very striking, very easy to spot on the racetrack.
Henderson's closed in again. It's inside 0.2 of a second. Nick Massey coming through as well there as they start to come through lap traffic. They put a lap car down there, but he's closed in under 0.2. Now it's kind of stayed at that 0.2 mark.
These two have battled a number of times before. What's difficult is going to be whether or not these guys can, or RC can get around Ryan Lutz. You know, they've had a number of battles, and it's tough to see that, you know, RC has been on the losing side of a bunch of them. So RC definitely hunting and thinking about all those times Ryan Lutz has kind of beat him at some of these tracks.
Well, you could see as we looked out of RC's windshield there that lap traffic is going to start to play a factor here in the next few laps. There's a few cars that they're going to start to roll into as they start to come up on one right now.
Yep, as Lutz gets into lap traffic, when you're this close to your competitors, one single slip up could be the difference between you losing the lead. Anderson is close but unable to capitalize as Lutz swings around Richard Hines in the 87 car.
Looked at Colin Fambro there for a minute.
Yep, trying to make progress after the pit road penalties. Fambro up to 21st, running behind Zishan Dura in the 10 car. Chuck Sweeting also in the 75. Trying to hit talking about all of our kind of top 20 guys so far. I think we talked about most of them. Haven't really brought up Josh Clark though. 28 car running 13th. 14th rather. We've also got some in-car views. Looks like looks like two of them are working here. I think two of them have fallen out of the race. Matthew Bayuk in the 29 and Brandon Key in the 6, showing what it's like. You can see how Bayuk's kind of pushing the wheel a little bit. Key looking a little more smooth here.
Yeah, Brandon Key looks really relaxed there in the 6 cars. We see the onboard. Another cool thing by Josh Schobel, our producer there, hooking up with some in-car views, and Henderson losing a little bit of time as we go back up front to the battle. It's back to about 0.3 of a second now between Lutz and Henderson.
Lutz able to navigate the 25 car pretty well there and kind of continue to keep that number 7 of RC Anderson at bay. Going to be really tough for Anderson to get around Ryan Lutz. He's just able to carry so much momentum up at the top of the racetrack.
Closing in on 30 to go. This time when we come back to the finish line, we'll complete lap number 139. Move on to 140. Nick Massey starting to sneak into the picture just a little bit. Still a couple tenths of a second, about half a second back of Anderson, but he is hanging back there in the 3rd spot. These 3 have really broke away from the 4th car of Dalton Tucker as they have a full second up on Tucker.
And these guys have really, pulled out. I think you're right. the top three seem to be the classes of the field, as it were. Tucker maybe just kind of hoping that something happens between those guys running together, as Ryan Lutz encountering some lap traffic here. Kendall Player in the 94. Like maybe Marshall Stanley, but man, this is some treacherous waters to be in for R.C. Enerson and Ryan Lutz. They might even draw Nick Massey up, two of them as well.
Hey guys, I got something real quick on Brandon Key.
Yeah, go ahead, Emily. What do you got?
Well, I know you guys mentioned that he looked really relaxed on his on cam, so I just had to talk to him about it. And he said, you know, he's just hoping for a caution and a pile up so he can kind of gain some spots here. But he said I might want to check in on him in a little bit because he might be falling asleep because he's really relaxed racing right now.
Yeah, tough break for him there. You know, definitely not his fault to get involved in that one wreck. Nice to be able to relax and drive kind of the afternoon race and hope for something. As you saw one on the apron right there, the caution could be moments away.
For the moment, we're going to stay green, though.
Big battle here. This could be where the caution is. Woohoo!
Johnny Thomas, Colin Fambro in
Chuck
there.
Sweeting. Chuck Sweeting in the 75. Zishan Dura in the 10. Snarling gaggle of cars, but a good battle. Fambro thought about taking him 3 wide and decided against it. There is pretty significant damage on the rear of this number 5 car. That's new as far as I can recall. We do have a crash that did not bring out a caution that we'll try to swing back for you here. Guy who's been involved in another incident already today in the 87 of Richard Hines. Got some difficulties there, but it looks like a similar incident to the 95 of Josh Adams, maybe without the stopping on track. He's running really slow. I wonder if maybe something didn't happen to that 87 car.
Yeah, it almost caused a big pile up there as he's really slowed up. Now you see him down there on the apron. I think that's what you caught there, David, when he thought that the caution was going to come out. 87 rolling around on the apron. But Ryan Lutz starting to put the hammer down with 24 to go, up by 0.6 of a second over R.C. Enerson, who's starting to pull away as they've put over a second now on Nick Massey.
It's going to be tough for these guys to catch this 36 car unless he runs into someone, you know, not runs into someone, but just runs into lap traffic at the wrong time. And you see the side-by-side battle right in front of him. That might catch R.C. Enerson right back up to him. He's going to have to find a way around the Lowry and Sherman machines.
And this is what we talked about earlier. These lappers know that the leader's coming. They don't want to get in the way, but sometimes they're involved in their own battles for position as well. And this is part of the leader. The leader has the hardest responsibility, being the first car through, kind of clearing the way for the cars behind him. And as you said, David, if the leader gets caught up, this could be the big break that Enerson needs, but it looks like Ryan Lutz is going to navigate it pretty easily here and not lose too much time. R.C. Enerson.
The question is, how much did that burn up the tires on the 36 of Ryan Lutz? And did it, you know, burn them up enough that RC will be able to make up some time additional to the 36 beyond what he was already making before? Doesn't necessarily look like. It looks like Lutz's car is still pretty good. Didn't really overdrive it, and that's kind of the brilliance of Ryan Lutz. He's able to carry a lot of speed into these corners without abusing his tires, and that's what makes him so good at these short tracks.
Looking at third place there, Nick Massey, about a second off of the lead. He's going to start to encounter those lap cars that Enerson's dealing with right now as well. Man, they still, I mean, you look, Massey's a second out for the lead, but they've still just pulled right away from Dalton Tucker. Almost 2.5 seconds now back to the fourth place car. Front three have really broken away at this point.
It's been kind of a master class, as it were, between this 36, 7, and 48. Those guys are really putting on a show, and hopefully this battle can kind of heat up down towards the end. Hopefully RC and Nick Massey have something for Ryan Lutz.
Inside 20 to go now. 19 to go here in the bat flip 170. Laps clicking off real quick. Looking at RC Anderson, who's run really in the top 2 spots all day long. Fell back for a little bit, but drove his way back up here. Trying to reel in Ryan Lutz. They've done it a couple times, as we've said, but haven't been able to get around him.
Yeah, I just don't know if there's enough time.
Anderson was your pole sitter, but I think he led 2 or 3 laps before Ryan Lutz made the move, and since then has not looked back. And I think you're right, David. I think they're running out of time quickly here. Get up there and try to make a pass.
Now, the one thing that could change things is a caution flag. And I've seen more than my fair share of races where looked like the one driver was pulling away. I even think to this weekend on the Xfinity race when it looked like Noah Gragson was going to drive away with the win, no problems at all, and then a car in front of him blew a tire and hit the wall. And he ran right into it and knocked him out of the race and presented a completely new guy an opportunity to win the race. Totally possible. Anything, it could happen until we see that checkered flag.
It is very true. So we got 14 to go now. 15 to go.
That's
the
why
leader had already gone through.
That's why we love racing, right? It's about skill, but there's that ever-present, possibility that something wild could happen. And for now, we've seen just a masterclass put on by the 36 and the 7 car. 2 guys who are just absolute the best that I've seen on this service, at this stuff, and at these short tracks. RC Anderson able to do this thing in real life, running cars, and hopefully he can kind of eat into this lead. He's certainly given it his best.
You're lapping one of the guys that we saw really dominate the race at Daytona until the last lap when he got turned into the outside wall. Jeff Green going a lap down.
Tough break for Green. Got a little bit of contact on the back straightaway, and it was all over. But, a top 10 run before that, something he can certainly take solace in. And, he's been in position in these first 2 ERSCA races, but unable to capture the prize at the end of the day.
Lead kind of staying the same, and with each lap, Anderson is not closing in. It's another lap that's going to probably make him 1 lap too short, or a couple laps too short of making a move.
Yeah, it looks like the lap times last time through identical between the 36 and the 7. So as much as RC Anderson is pushing, Ryan Lutz is pushing exactly the same, and he's able to keep him at arm's length.
11 laps left to go now, and if that continues to be the trend, Ryan Lutz is going to be well on his way to another victory. He's got 1 lap car in front of him coming up here.
That's Mr. Relaxed Brandon Key right in front of him there. So I don't think Key will be presenting any issues to Ryan Lutz.
Nope, and Josh Sobel just told us the top 3 all ran the same lap time. So Nick Massey hanging in there with Anderson and Lutz as well.
Yeah, Massey just too far back. He had his opportunity there when he got side by side with Ryan Lutz, had the inside line, and I think he just burned up his tires a little bit there on that attempt, and that was all it took. You just saw how controlled Ryan Lutz is able to be when he's up in the top group. Just very difficult to pass, very difficult to stop when he's able to carry that momentum throughout these corners, down these straightaways.
See Brandon Key there just going to the top side of the racetrack, getting out of the way for the leaders, letting them come through. Lead actually growing ever just so slightly by a couple hundredths, and now it's really starting to grow as it's up to 0.7 of a second there. Emerson having a little bit of trouble in 3 and 4 and letting Ryan Lutz pull away a little bit more.
Oh, you hate to see it. It's Ryan RC Anderson's kind of given everything he's got, and I think he's worn the tires off of that 7 car, man. Just as much as he can push, he is pushed, and it's just not enough so far to catch this 36.
7 laps left to go, 6/10, and so he'd have to close by over a tenth a second just to even get there. Tenth a second would get him there, but he's got to get around him for the race win. It's going to be a tough task for RC Anderson to get there. Ryan Lutz looking to just cap off this dominating performance here to start the first real race of the season. We had the Daytona race at the Super Speedway, but everyone knows those are once in a very outlier when it comes to NASCAR racing and stock car racing, and now we're on short track racing. We close in on 5 to go. He's still staying the same for Ryan Lutz.
Yeah, look back through the running order a little bit into the top 10. Ethan Burrell did work his way back up to 5th, so the car that kind of was able to hang with this front 4 that have been so consistent, that was able to, Ethan Burrell was able to move back. Also, Tate Lytle wasn't able to get into the top 10 and run with these guys. Looks like he pushed all his chips into the middle to get to about 10th spot, and he's since stayed at about 11th to 12th the rest of the run. So a little bit disappointing that Tate Lytle wasn't able to kind of get up and challenge these guys, but that's just how it crumbles sometimes.
Still had a very strong run to get up there to the 11th position. Lead now up over 7/10 of a second. Ryan Lutz may be checking out here, coming to 3 to go.
Yep, and Ryan Lutz is hoping and praying that no yellow flag comes across the center of his screen. He just needs to hit the line 2 more times, and then he'll be home free.
Just got to get to that white flag to seal it up. Through 3 and 4 once again. Lead staying at 7/10. Massey really out of it now, 2 seconds back. He's only got to keep that 7 car behind him for 2 more laps. And Ryan Lutz will add his name to list of winners, and there's the caution.
Ooh, and that's what I was just talking about. We had someone in our YouTube comments section say, "Great race, guys." I was saying it's not over yet, guys. Anything could happen. This is racing. The race is not over until the checkered flag flies. David Strackbean has gone and bounces the car up in the air. Tough break for Strackbean. He was on the lead lap, I believe. And
Definitely got
enough.
Definitely got turned there.
Adam Pettit, the one to get into him. Maybe. Oh yeah. It looks like the 44 car almost checked up down the straightaway. Not sure what that was all about. Pettit was not on him there, and you wouldn't just gain a bunch of time in the center of the straightaway. I'm not sure what that was.
Interesting, but there's one person.
Guys are pitting behind Ryan Lutz. Looks like Lutz is going to stay out, and everyone coming down to get tires behind him.
Yeah, that's an interesting decision by Ryan Lutz because we've seen 2 pit stops already, and not much has changed on pit road. You think if you're Lutz, if that's the case, you would have came down and at least tried to get tires, and we'll see how this all plays out. You see Indelicato coming in, Massey, Johnny Thomas on your screen.
If you're Ryan Lutz, you're hurt if you do, hurt if you don't here. Lutz is, if he pits, everyone is going to stay out behind him, and he'll be the only car on fresh tires in 25th spot. If he doesn't pit, like you saw here, everyone behind him is going to come in, with the exception, I believe, of James Heater. And maybe not. I think it might just be. Wow. Okay, so the order is going to get shuffled up, and this is pretty much going to spell the end for Ryan Lutz. No one stayed out behind him. Everyone pits. Dalton Tucker, Gerald Campbell, Dylan Thomas, and Ethan Burrell are now the top 5 behind Lutz. Anderson back to 9th after a dreadful pit stop. And I don't even see Massey. Massey's 7th.
Yeah, that was not what RC Anderson was going for. And just as I said it, things had been calm on pit road. Nobody really made any mistakes. And now maybe Ryan Lutz, even though the guys have fresh tires behind him, was worried about that would happen to him as well. We'll see if he can hold them off.
Just a man, a green white checkered finish, guys. We are blessed, I think, to get this result. And I've seen Ryan Lutz hold off new tires, though he had a little bit of a buffer when he did that before. It was last week at Gateway in an elite pros versus Joe's race. Lutz was able to hold off some of the iRacing's best, including our own Thomas Sherman running the 23 car in this race for that win. Had Kyle Busch on tap for it, but wasn't able to get him in there completely. The Kaz Gralla was in that race. Brandon Brown and Ryan Lutz took him to school, but I think this one's going to be a little different. These guys have really fresh rubber, and Lutz is out on very old tires.
See what will happen. Dalton Tucker comes out with the biggest advantage there. He'll start on the outside of row number 1. Gerald Campbell starts in the 3rd spot.
And Gerald Campbell's he hasn't been up front here. Neither has Dylan Thomas. These guys got to be hungry, got to try to get there and try to see what they can do with their opportunity to jump into the lead and win one. But Dalton Tucker might be in the best spot up on the top.
All right, we saw drama to end our Daytona race. Could we see drama here to end the Bat Flip 170 at Iowa in the 2nd week of the ERSCA season? Getting ready to go green next time by.
Ooh, had me amped up there. I thought we were going, but apparently
I know,
not.
I thought we were too.
Oh,
I gotta do it all over again.
Can't believe it too. It's just insane. Caution with 3 laps to go. Anything can happen in racing. Anything. See, I really do think Ryan Lutz is a completely sitting duck here, but I have been proven wrong by that very 36 car before on old tires. Man can save tires with the best of them. This car's definitely going to be off this time.
All right, here we go. Will drama ensue in the final 3 laps? Green flag back in the air. Ryan Lutz going to lead us back to the start-finish line. Dalton Tucker on his outside. Everyone behind Lutz has fresh tires. Will he hold him off? Green flag underway. Here we go. 3 laps to decide. The Bat Flip 170.
Green white checkered here, so next time by it'll be the white flag. Lutz out to a great start, but you'll see the tires eat him up in the corner. Can Lutz hold him off? They're going to get into each other there. Thomas sideways.
Able to keep it underneath it. Here comes Gerald Campbell to the inside. Lutz slides up the racetrack. Dalton Tucker going to tuck underneath. New race leader coming to go. 2 to go.
Gerald with the block on Tucker. Lutz is still in it.
White flag in the air. Oh, there goes Lutz. Gerald Campbell out to the race lead. Down the back track, there goes Nick Massey. Massive wreck. Massey flipping over multiple times. White flag in the air, coming to the line. Gerald Campbell is going to steal the win here at Iowa. Dalton Tucker will come across in 2nd, and Ryan Lutz will settle for 3rd here in the Bat Flip 170. David, drama once again here to start the ERSCA season in race number 2 at Iowa.
Oh my goodness, what a finish. Congrats to Gerald Campbell. You know, I think we talked to him last week too. He's definitely going to be the points leader. Oh my goodness gracious, what a finish. And yeah, what a terrible break for Nick Massey. Great run all day. Going to end up deep in the field. So is Tate Lytle, it looks like. We'll have to check our final rundown here, see where maybe R.C. Anderson finished as well. I think he ended up 4th. The final caution, tough. And we'll have Ryan Lutz finishing 3rd on old tires, able to hold him off for ever so slightly, like 1 lap, but not enough to hold him off for the entire green white checkered. And Gerald Campbell is going to pick up the win at Iowa. What a start to this season.
So rightly burn it down here on the front stretch. David just said it. What a start to this season. It seemed like David said many times, Lutz was out front. It seemed like he had it locked down. Was pulling away, and then caution strikes. Chaos ensues once again here in the ERSCA season. Gerald Campbell becomes our second winner here in the regular season, adding his name to Cameron Rich. Do a bullish victory lap now as he goes backwards around the racetrack.
Wow, wow, wow. I am also curious as to getting a kind of a replay of that last lap incident for sure. Man, oh man, we had a number of hard hits there. Massey for sure went up in the air, might have flipped over a couple of times.
Yeah, I think Massey flipped at least once or twice. He had a lot of damage. He went airborne. Don't know what. Someone obviously probably turned him, but waiting for Josh to get that all together. And as soon as he does, we'll have that replay up here on the screen for you. That
We did have a request on the YouTube comment section here for the helicopter view of that incident as well, Josh. So just a FYI there. We can also
David, that
start to get into the interviews as well.
that almost looked like a Daytona finish here at Iowa with Massey flipping, and it looks like Thomas came down the racetrack.
Look at that. Took out Ethan Burrell as well. And there were more crashes going on through this field. I think there's more up ahead of this group. These guys do finish the race, but you see right there, big crash. Tate got taken out in that as well. Wow, wow. Bayuk taken out, Pettit taken out, Josh Clark, and Burrell trying to recover, comes through and gets hit again. Oh man, miserable finish for some, but for one, it's not miserable. I think we should bring Gerald Campbell in and talk to him here, and let Emily get to talk to him.
All right, Emily, let's send it down to you to talk to our winner here at the Bat Flip 170, Gerald Campbell.
Hey, Gerald, do you have a copy?
Oh, do I?
That was a wild couple laps to go to the end of the race. Let me just hear it from your point of view. What did you see out there?
Oh, it was checkers for records there at the end. I think everyone had that thought into it. I practice all day long and long runs just trying to, because I don't know what it is, but Iowa, I used to be very good here, and I've lacked the speed. So I was so concentrating on long runs that I threw 2 tires on, just thinking, if I can still somewhat finish in the top 10. But the 2 tires held up so good. It was a little loose, but it was, I guess, just fast enough. So, yeah, no, just kind of got Lutz coming out of the turn, which was the best case scenario. And then I saw, I don't know who it was, someone, I think it was the 24, trying to duck low, and I was able to throw just the perfect block just in time to get the bump without turning myself or causing a wreck. So once I got that bump, it was, unless if something crazy happened with my car, it was good to go at that point, because I had just enough lead that I didn't have to worry about that late dive bomb from someone. So can't believe how excited I am for this, because it just wasn't expected.
Well, we are very excited for you. Was there anything that specifically surprised you or kind of stood out to you about the race tonight?
Just, I guess, some of those guys up front, like, I was backing off a lot in the beginning, losing a couple spots here and there to have the run to be able to get back up to them. And it worked for like all the way up until you get into like the top 6, and then the top 5 guys were just gone, and they were gone from the beginning and gone to the end. So it was just I felt like if the long run would have continued, I probably had a 6th place car. Because I kept working right up to almost 6th place when the caution would come out. So I guess the surprise was just how fast those guys up front were. But that's why it's racing. It's not the fastest guy that wins sometimes. It's just the guy that plays the right strategy.
That's right. And after coming in first tonight, how are you kind of feeling going into the next race?
I was concentrating on ERSCA. ERSCA is a very I did last year, and unfortunately I came in too late in the season to get into the chase. My main goal was make sure I get into the chase this year and have the fun with all these guys, because even with how competitive it was last year, this year's even more competitive. So just to make the top 12, or top guys to make it into the chase, was going to be a feat in of itself. So having this win kind of takes a load off, And then I guess I can start playing more strategy moves like that and starting to go for for some more of those wins and some more of those bonuses and everything like that. So expect the car to, or expect me to start playing some more moves later in the runs of these races. So yeah, just kind of changes the strategy from here on out, I guess.
Real
Perfect.
quick,
Well,
Gerald. Real quick
Go
though,
ahead.
Gerald. I don't think you're locked into anything, bud. I think this one's a little different. The point system is.
Well, yeah, but it definitely does help because it does get me up way. I had a fourth place at Daytona, and then first place here, so I'm pretty high up in points. So I guess I could just, if it's not like that, I just gotta continue the runs. But this definitely does help if I have a bad race, and hopefully I keep those away from me, and I just continue on these this luck of a run because 18th to 4th last week, and now 9th to 1st, I guess. So these late runs, I'm gonna have to keep going with these. I'm just gonna keep these lucky shoes on, I guess.
Love that. Gerald, before we let you go, are there any shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, I like to. I never hardly ever get to do a shout out for them, and they sponsored me again in this series. MDS with Belly Up, MDS Fantasy Football show. You can get them on their Twitter. They have podcasts. Very, very interesting to listen to, especially whenever the football season starts back up and when they have the draft. You want to listen to them. They're great with all the insight of everything, and they're great follow on Twitter because they have so much things that they shout out going on in the football season. So one of the best at it with how they approach football and how their insight and all that. So great shout out to MDS. Thanks you guys. You guys do a wonderful job. It's the thanks to you guys and how ERSCA's ran that makes it so special whenever you get one of these wins, because like I said, I mean, I'm stoked. I'm absolutely stoked to get a win because you guys step it up. It makes it feel that much special. So thank you guys. You guys do a wonderful job promoting this series and a wonderful job just doing everything that you guys do with all the way through the broadcast. You make us look like heroes. So yeah, other than that, thanks PRC Esports, the team. A lot of my teammates didn't have a great run today, but they're a great group of guys. We go into it not really pushing each other to be, farther than we need to. We just make sure that we are enjoying ourselves, and that's why we're here, is to enjoy
Yeah.
ourselves. So that's it. I'm gonna let you guys close out the show because if you let me keep talking, I'm just gonna keep going. So thank you guys.
Oh, thank you, Gerald. Enjoy your win and congrats tonight. All right.
All right, I'm gonna celebrate.
Perfect.
All right, and let's bring in our second place runner, Dalton Tucker, as well.
Hey, Dalton, do you have a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
All right. Well, just kind of take me through your thoughts on the race tonight. Came in second.
It was pretty non-eventful for the front five or so. Just kind of follow the leader. First run, I burned up my tires a little bit, and I think I got up to second, fell to third. Uh, After that, it was just kind of a battle of who could save him the best, and I didn't quite have it figured out. I got a little bit of damage on the last run, right at 30 seconds or so, and it really made it tight on me. And I knew with the caution that came out at the end, I needed to probably come in no matter what everybody else did if I wanted any shot of moving forward. And luckily, everybody else did. So it restarted me second, which I thought was going to be good, but I think I was sleeping or taking a nap or something on that restart.
Well, coming into the race tonight, what was your strategy?
Uh, it's all about track position, so I was just trying to stay up front the best I could, whether it's with pit strategy or just trying to run up there.
And what would you say was maybe the biggest challenge for you on the race tonight?
It's always passing at Iowa. It's extremely hard. You can be faster, but you need to save tires, so it's kind of a losing battle in both ways.
Well, before we let you go, are there any shout outs that you would like to give tonight?
Just shout out to my team, Revved Racing, and just a shout out to y'all that do the broadcast. Y'all do a really great job.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Dalton, and congrats on coming in second tonight.
All right, thanks.
All right. So Ryan Lutz definitely upset there after the finish of the race, but I guess we'll throw it to Emily first. Emily, what you got? Any final closing thoughts here before we close out the broadcast?
I am like so fired up after this race. I don't know if you guys are, but after having last week off, this was definitely one that I wanted to come into. Like you guys said, anything can happen in racing, and just those last couple laps proved that. So it was a ton of fun, and can't wait for the next one.
And if Josh can pull up that final running order there again, couple of notes. I noticed that Lutz looked like he alt-tabbed there right as he got to the line. Looks like we didn't pick up his finishing spot. So it appears that Lutz is not going to get credited with a third place run. And then on top of that, Emily, your pick, Johnny Thomas, ended up 8th.
Whoa! See, I knew it, guys. I was onto something.
And we'll try to scroll through the rest of the finishing order there a little bit here as Dom maybe give your final thoughts on this one.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering what was up there with Lutz and why RC Anderson got the third place spot. So thanks for the information there, David. And we've had 2 crazy finishes here to start the season, and excited to head to Atlanta next week for race number 3 here of the ERSCA season.
Awesome. So as you kind of pick out your favorite driver, a lot of guys back here that had some rough luck: Ethan Burrell, Ryan Lutz, Jeff Green, Brandon Key. As we finish off the running order, Scott Crump as well as Josh Adams. So we'll have to see how the points shake out, and we'll kind of set that up for you next week. But for now, I'm David Westergreen for Dom Santina and Emily Harlan. This has been the Belly Up Sports Bat Flip Podcast 170 for ERSCA. We'll see you next week.